to deal with the loss of your dad or your mum about a week ago. You're running around to take the equipment back to social services, to the commode and the this. You got a big brother saying, I want some of that money, that mum's left behind, You got all kinds of crap. And the crap, the stress, it manifests and it bleeds out in the body, anxiety. So Terry's right. Grounding strategies. My heart's beating fast. Let me square breathe. Hold. Let me, when I get home, talk to someone that I love. My heart was beating fast, Really.
Thank you so much for that. The next question is, how do we know when we're experiencing generational trauma? How do we know when we're experiencing generational trauma? Who would like to answer that question?
That's a tough one.
What are some of the symptoms or of trauma in general?
I would say, for example, not avoiding confrontation. So if you've grown up in a house where there's been fights all the time and arguments, there's that tendency to try and be a pacifist and not get involved in anything confrontational. But the key thing is, it takes quite a long time to realize that you're reacting from that. And there needs to be that awareness that this is actually what's happened. Because talking about myself here, I only realized that later on in life, that I was running away from the things that I saw growing up as a kid. So it will need to be explored, with somebody to kind of understand what's going on for them, because it's not something that one can, because it's your norm, it's your normality. So and if it's your life, then it's hard to realize that it's not the right thing, if you get what I'm trying to say. So it will need to be explored to realize that, I'm actually reacting or behaving from the trauma that I've been passed on from my parents. That's what I was saying there.
And a question I think is a really common question. My family don't understand that I'm struggling. Who would like to answer that one? Leon, on you.
Yeah, I don't mind to give others the opportunity, but it's so hard. I can only talk. I talk from a personal point of view. Nobody in my family wanted me to even become a therapist. I had objections from my family, near and far. You shouldn't become a therapist. You're a black man. What are you doing? You work in such and such a job. That's a good job. Don't become a therapist. And it's likewise understanding that sometimes for you to get the help you need, you may have to leave your family, but leave sometimes your ecosystem, I would say. And I don't mean it in a way that you're cutting them off, but because you're not understood, and sometimes that's also triggering in that sense as well, because you're not understood or heard, your voice, and it feels like you've been undermined, you have to then seek safe refuge, what's important to you. And sometimes they may not get you. Anybody who trailblazes will have to lead the path by themselves. So maybe you're the first person in your family to get therapy. Then explore. I'm sure if you wanted to call any of us, we members of Barton and Psychology Today and other recognized organizations, but have a conversation. Join up to the group, have a conversation, psycho-educate yourself. Go into spaces where you are heard and where you are valued. So if you are struggling, don't struggle alone. If you are struggling to articulate, say, don't do that, because what we don't recognize, what we contain will always contaminate us. Our body rejects things on purpose. So if we don't feel well, what do? Sounds a bit crude, but we throw up. When we eat our food and we digest all the nutrients, what do? We pass it through. So if we are going through trauma, have swallowed trauma, been through trauma, and it's in us and around us, we've got to let it go. If your family don't understand you, find a space that keeps you safe so you're understood.
And I think being understood is accessing Black therapy and finding a Black therapist. So I'd like to pose a question to the audience, because many people in the audience may not have had the opportunity to speak with a Black therapist. So if you were given an opportunity as a consultation in the audience, do you want to drop in the chat, what would you want to know from the Black therapist? Is it how long the therapy lasts? Where does the therapy take place? So if you were having a consultation, what would you like to ask the Black therapist? If you were given that free opportunity in the chat, do you want to drop your comments? What would you like to ask that Black therapist? So, yeah. A lot about listening. So one of the questions that came in is, how should somebody prepare for a therapy session? If they've never had a therapy session before, how should somebody prepare? Who would like to share?
I'll go.
Thank you, Terry.
Come as you are.
Yeah.
Just come. Just be you. Be you. There's nothing. Yeah, just come. Come being you. No, nothing to prepare.
Yeah, I have to echo what Terry's saying. I think it's just be willing to be open to the process, you know, as open as you can be, because obviously it can be difficult to tell somebody, a total stranger, things that you've never told those closest to you. Yeah, but it's just a case of just be open and just be willing to allow the process to develop, the relationship to develop, and ask as many questions as you want. That's what we're here for. Ask as many questions, because I firmly believe it's about you finding the right therapist, having that right fit. So no question's a silly question. Ask away, and then you'll know whether the therapy is ready. You're right for the therapy at this time, and if that therapist is the right fit for you.
I definitely echo what both people have said. In terms of also preparing, in terms of time, I would say give yourself time before to sort of really get into the mindset to feel anxious, to feel excited, to feel worried, whatever the feelings are, to immerse yourself in that, because it is the first time. You don't know what you are going to get, but then also allow yourself time afterwards, because it might be very stressful for you. It might be a bit overwhelming for you. So give yourself time to, you know, ground yourself, to meditate, to think, to journal, to do whatever it is for you to sort of return back to sort of a level of calmness, rather than thinking, okay, great, the session is done, got to go back to work, great, got to go pick up the kids or whatever it may be. To allow yourself the time.
I think just to add to that, I think also to have comfort in the knowledge that practically every therapist out there themselves has been in therapy, so they've been in your shoes. They know what you most probably are feeling during the first session, like the anxiety, not knowing what to say, not knowing what to ask. So we've all been there. We've all been there.
Another question that's coming is, how confidential is my therapy session? Will you tell my mom? Will you tell my dad? Will you tell my family? Who'd like to answer?
I'll answer. It is confidential. We're not going to tell your mom or your dad, but the only exception to confidentiality is if you're going to harm yourself or someone else, or issues around terrorism or trafficking, or if a child is in danger, like child cruelty. But in what's been discussed in the room, it is confidential.
Another question that's come in, how do I deal with my mental health in the workplace?
Yeah.
How do we deal with mental health in the workplace? Blame?
Hi, yeah, I've had to go through this recently. Well, the line manager, especially if it's in a public health setting, you know, it comes back to the duty of care that the employer has to look after your health, safety, and well-being as far as reasonably and practically as possible. So they can refer you to different sort of OC health type services that shouldn't impact your capability, but to take on board what you're going through. And sometimes now there's workplace counselling available. And then linked to that, sometimes there are services that the GP might be able to offer, linked to many of our colleagues here. That's in terms of the sort of that support. There's also the trade unions as well, that might be more switched on in terms of race equality and race and support around those type of microaggressions if it's linked to that. But as an employee, you have rights to enact grievances as well, particularly if you're being bullied and things are not appropriate. And what the grievances will do, they will allow hopefully a fair process in place. Sometimes the work systems can bounce back on you, so you report the situation for grievance, but then all of a sudden you might get under investigation yourself. And so then you're part of a whole torturous process. Sorry, I'm sorry to put that blunt reality out there. Maybe colleagues in the room can contradict me. Maybe come in now, please, and just add some more support. Is it possible that sometimes you can come under investigation for in fact asking for help and complaining? Sorry, come in. Anyone?
Yeah, no, I somewhat agree with that, because then it might boil down to, you know, capability. Are you fit enough to do your job? So rather than looking at what's going on for you, and how can we help you, they're taking it down the route of, you know, perhaps, you know, the role is no longer suited to you, or perhaps, you know, you know, what's going on for you isn't enabling you to fulfill your role. So yeah, I somewhat agree with that. Yeah.
I personally think as well, if a person is experiencing racism within the workplace or discrimination, it's actually against the law. So nobody should feel uncomfortable if they want to grieve their unhappiness. And there should be advocates within an organization that they should be able to go through. A question that's come in.
Can I come in, please? There,
yes, please. Yes,
but one of the things that's what it is. It's again, it's systemic. Yes, you may air grievances and be able to speak, but the very people that you go into management are drinking buddies or smoking buddies of the person you have grievance about. So you may have an issue with your manager or your HR manager, whoever it is, and then you go to, let's say, the person who's supposed to air grievance with, their colleagues, their friends, their buddies. So you don't even feel safe to air a grievance. And that's the scary thing. Sometimes you have no idea where to go. Oftentimes what I generally find, it's the union, which is external, which has the weight and the clarity and the support to say, okay, I can support you in this. So if you can be a part of a union, but that comes at a cost. What I do find is you're often isolated in workplaces. And that's where the part where you have no safe place. So you don't feel safe at work. And then sometimes if you come back home, you don't feel safe at home because they're going to blame you the issue that, why can't you just behave at work? So then you feel the pressure to perform and always have to supply. So then you just internalize and then go silent. So oftentimes racism results in silence because you don't know what to do, where to go.
I like what you said.
Mental health.
I like what you said, Leon. We come home to the safe space, but then I said, well, why don't you just behave yourself? You know, just take it. We know what we're here for. So I gave a smile because home is meant to be the haven. Sometimes it's cool. The missus or the partner will really take that on board. But if you're both in stressful jobs, it's stress in the household. And then we know that's a domino effect. You know what's going to go down, isn't it? Pressure in the marriage, pressure. Yeah, but groups like this is the one. I'm going to be like a Don King. Bella's group is the one. Tell your friends about it. Advertise it. Put it on your WhatsApp. Put it on your Facebook, Twitter. Come to Bella's group. Promote it. We need more of it. It'll get more funding. It'll be the greatest thing for Black people in this country. We need this. We need it. We need it.
I think Blaine will be the number one. He'll be marching down with me in Parliament when we get all of our banners together. So thank you, Blaine. And I think another one for generational trauma is, I don't know if others agree with this. Sometimes generational trauma is also linked directly and indirectly with our parents, because we all know the famous saying, don't hang your dirty linen outside, you know, or what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So a question that came in, like, how do I deal with trauma or my mental health without involving my parents? Thank you, Terry.
An adult can seek help without parental consent. So you can make that move yourself without telling them what you're doing. Because it's your business, it's your you're responsible to yourself. It's your mental health. So I would say be bold and look after number one, because it's not about them, it's about you, and do what you have to do.
Very well put. And talking about symptoms, one of the reasons I'm very passionate having these platforms is, as Black people, we have a fear of visiting the doctor. So a lot of us are wondering, walking around with symptoms that we don't even know. So a question that came in that's really relevant: how do I know if I'm anxious or depressed? So in other words, what are the symptoms of anxiety or depression? How would I know if I'm struggling? Thank you, Terry.
So I'll give you an example of anxiety. Increased heart rate, sweaty palms, dry mouth,
Headaches,
you feel nervous, body
aches.
With depression, it could be loss of appetite, it could be not sleeping well, you could feel down, low mood, you know, nothing really matters anymore. You can't really enjoy the things that you did before. That's a symptom of something isn't right.
And also, to add to that, Terry, distancing yourself from friends and family, from places you used to enjoy going to, you know, just becoming very insular, not reaching out.
I agree. But sometimes the scary parts of depression is that you're functioning in a dysfunctional way. So you've learned to literally function exactly, but you're not disassociated from people. So you could have, let's say, some people are functional alcoholics, or functioning at work, or functional comedian, that everything on the surface seems to be okay. So the scary part is the inside. You're struggling, but you don't know how to articulate it. So you turn up for the children, you turn up for the family, you turn up for the husband, and you look great. And then this is oftentimes when people get to that breaking point and don't disclose to others. And this is when they attempt or try to commit, because they didn't learn how to articulate. So if you are struggling and platforms like this and you're here for a reason, because you may be struggling. You can stay anonymous, but still reach out. You can reach out anonymous for a friend, whatever, but don't stay silent. You don't need to function alone. Don't stay silent. You don't need to be the Superman or Superwoman. Don't stay silent. I re-emphasize, and I keep re-emphasizing it. If you're here because you are reaching out, you are curious, you are wondering something's going inside of me, but on the surface, everybody else seems to think you're okay. You don't need to be. It's not judgmental here. There's no shade here. Join a group, reach out to one of us. We'll talk, we give you time, but don't stay silent.
I'd like to add to that, using my own experience, because I am now a volunteer in the marketing department for the Samaritans. I actually had no idea what the Samaritans were, or if they would help Black people as well, because we're used to charities and the Samaritans thinking that, they're just all white colleagues. So what I will say is that if you feel you can't talk to your family or friends, you're not in a position to pay for therapy yourself, the Samaritans are there 24 hours a day, and they don't judge you. They actually allow you to talk. And what it educated me to understand, that talking really helps. It's like a rucksack lifted from your back. And this is also a promotion and advocating talking therapy. So that's something that I think as Black people, we haven't been educated, say, in the classroom or around the dinner table, that therapy, talking therapy really helps. And I'll get the moderators to add those telephone numbers, because they're really useful and they're free from your mobile telephone number. A question from Eventbrite before we wrap up is, can we overcome mental health issues, or do we simply have to learn to cope with them? Can we overcome mental health, or do we simply have to learn how to cope with them? Blaine?
I'll jump right in. Sorry, Blair, I think I jumped in. My bad. Absolutely, with a resounding yes. Nothing needs to say the same. Absolutely. I'm 100% behind that. That what we've learned, we can also unlearn. What we've taken and we can also let go. What we've been given to us doesn't need to be stays us. Because we can take it doesn't mean we have to. So can we overcome? Absolutely, yes. How we overcome? It may take time. Sometimes what people want is to treat therapy like it's paracetamol or Skittles, that, yeah, I'm going to go see my therapist and we're done in a week's time. What, fix me now? And it's like, whoa. What's taken years for you to be in, it may not take days to get out of. Enjoy the process, enjoy the evolution, enjoy the change. Don't rush it. Anything that's worthy of taste or value generally takes time. Slow cooked food, slow wine, a process of making something intricately is taking time. Sometimes therapy is the same thing, but the results is phenomenal and splendid.
Thank you. I love that,
Yeah.
brother Leon. Fix me now. I love it. And sometimes we have to feel okay to talk our patois, because we don't get to talk our patois in modern society. That's almost parked up, So I love that. What I've come to appreciate as a gift to others, we've got to develop, how can I say it? The listener has to develop a filter. So if you're a partner in the audience, listening to your partner repeat the same trauma message, that neighbor, I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something, and he keeps repeating that 6 months, a year later, I'm going to do something, and he or she has a trigger. If you say, well, live and let live, no, man. You've got to that person has to get to a point of realization that expression is not healthy. So I tend to hang out some pegs. We have to look after our body, i.e. what we eat and what we exercise. We have to look after our social space and the social energy. So even if it is the neighbor, got to find ways of walking past them and breathing so you can cope. We have to look after our psychology, our mind, because the mind, if that gets contaminated with triggering thoughts, the mind is going to be under pressure. So we have to develop some barriers to filter out noise so that it can help us think, feel, and have a neat emotion. Then we have to look after our spirituality. I don't believe in no God. God what? He's a white man God. Well, we got to find a way, whether it's nature and the wind is blowing through the trees and we think that's the power of our ancestors, or it is a godly moment. Why tap into that part of you that appreciates the universe and why we are here on this planet? All those things have to be aligned and in balance. It's pointless exercising well, but you're cussing the neighbor. I'm really fit, you know. I did my exercise. I always exercise. But see that neighbor? I don't like that. You know, I'm gonna do that. That's just making you unhealthy. Everything has to be in balance. And then onward. I think I'm in Leon's train. Onward, positivity. Back to you, Chair Bella.
Thank you so much. We are going to wrap up. Does any of the panelists have anything else to contribute before we leave? The moderators, I'll ask you to add all of the therapist details in the chat. Do we have any lasting words or any lasting thoughts that when you do take therapy up, what you should do the next day or how to continue looking after your therapy? Do we have any lasting thoughts?
Ask a bunch of questions. Just to repeat, no questions too stupid, and shop around.
Yeah.
I say to anybody who particularly comes to me, I say, look, if I'm the only therapist you have or seen, feel free to go see others. I'm not, my ego is not big. I'm not hurt by you sitting when I find somebody else, not a problem. I just want to make sure that you find your own space, your own healing journey. And make sure when you talk to them, feel that you can be just do an assessment with them, have a conversation that you might be able to feel that you can be emotionally held. If you don't feel that you can be emotionally held by them, jog on. You're the expert of your feelings. You're in charge. So if you don't feel like you're connected, you move on. You go to the shop, you put on a jacket, you don't put on a jacket you don't feel comfortable wearing. You try the next one, you buy shoes, these are a bit too tight there. You try the next pair of shoes. Just like therapy. You find the right therapist that fits in for you. No shame in that. You don't need to people please there. This is about you looking for a service that suits you.
Yeah, 100% agree with Leon, 100%. I'm not going to go over all of what you've just said, but I agree. I definitely, Terry and I, advocate that our clients do shop around to find that right fit, because it's not a one size fits all. Even though I know that from reading my bio, you've come to me for a reason, but from having a conversation, you may feel that I'm not suited, and that is perfectly fine. But what I'll also say is be prepared to do some work, to see any changes. You're going to have to do the work. We don't see any of our clients as broken or even fixing, but you're here for a reason. Therefore, put in the work to achieve the results.
Thank you, guys. So to the audience, we are absolutely excited and delighted that you were able to attend our event. We do have an event gift for you, which is a favorite card. So I'd ask the moderators to please put the favorite card. And this is part of your self-care, because when you do have the courage to seek help from a Black therapist, you only seen the Black therapist maybe once or twice a week. So it does really count what you do thereafter. So I encourage you to continue your self-care and start off slow. So if the moderators in the chat can please give the link for the form, which you receive 30 days later. You just fill in the details. I'd also like to bring your attention that we are on Google Maps. I started the organization Making Time for Black Mental Health because I saw there was a purpose. I want to make change in our organization. I want to make change within the NHS, that we can walk into a GP surgery and say, I'd like to see a Black therapist, and that's okay. But I need your support to be able to do this. We are available all over social media. So I'd ask you please to visit our Google Maps page and please write a review, because that helps us to create more awareness in our community. So I'll add our chat moderators to please put the link and do write a review if you've enjoyed this. And it's something we can post on social media. I also like to bring your attention that Christmas is coming and we do our best to fundraise. So we have created our own mental health wellness bottle, which is making time for Black mental health. If you'd like to make a donation, it's very, very much appreciated. Keeps your water hot for 12 hours, keeps your water cold for 12 hours. Or if you'd like to make a smaller donation to help us continue our work, that will be very, very much appreciated. Thank you, guys. I'll ask the moderators to put the donation link in the chat. And just to let you know, we have a link tree. So all of the information from the event today will be in the link tree. So that is also available just by going to Linktree. I'm really, really excited to let you know that this event is recorded and we have a Think Tenacity podcast, and we have a really great, exciting series which is sponsored by Greenwich Mental Health Hub. And this series allows you to hear generational trauma, what to do with anxiety, what to do with triggers. You also get an opportunity to hear Joanne Jackson, who is going to facilitate these free funded group support. For those of you who might enjoy YouTube, this series is also available on YouTube, where you can listen at your pleasure. Do subscribe and do share with people in your community. So we very much appreciate that. I want to bring your attention to how you can simply sign up for group support. I feel honoured that I have lived in experience, so I can consult with our board on what the community needs. So you will see that there are 4 dates, and each date has a different topic. We've made it very easy and simple to use. You can just click the dates on which support that you need, and our therapy team will contact you. Okay. So all of our information is also available on our social media links. We ask that you share as well and comment, and we do follow everybody back on our social media. So before I wrap up, I'd like to just hand over to the event host so we can do a final poll, because this data is really needed so that we can apply for more funding. So I'll ask the event host to add the final poll, and if everybody can please complete the final poll, that would be amazing. So thank you very much. Over to Serena.
Hi everyone, thank you for your engagement today. I'm just going to share the last poll.
Thank you guys for doing that. We have an Eventbrite link, which I'll get the moderators to add to the Zoom chat. That's also a very, very useful way for you to follow and get notifications on our events by following the Eventbrite link, so you can follow up. We are a small team, but we have a big following. If you want to reach us or you want to contact one of the Black therapists, or you're interested in Black therapy or you don't know where to turn, please email us at hello@Think Tenacity. We also have a WhatsApp group where we share early notifications. So if you'd like to join the WhatsApp group, please, you can use the link, or you can also email us and that will be sent over to you. So I'll ask the moderators to please add the WhatsApp details to the chat. So if anybody wants to join the WhatsApp group, the team will add the link to the WhatsApp group in the chat. So guys, I want to say thank you very much. As I started off, giving you a round of applause for taking the time out today to look after your mental health. And don't forget, your mental health comes first. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event. And we enjoy supporting you at the group support. I do recommend, please do book early because it is a funded event. So thank you everybody who's attended the event. I appreciate your support. So thank you very much for coming to the event. Stay safe and do be in touch with us. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending. And a big thank you to my team. Without you, things are not possible. So thank you for helping me to put this vision to sight. We thank our funders at Greenwich Mental Health Hub, BGL Mind, and also Oxley NHS. I really thank our panelists, the Black therapists. You guys have been amazing and will continue to share the information. If you want to get more clips of the events, visit us on social media. So thank you so much. And also to the moderators, thank you so much for being part of the event. We really, really appreciate it. So thanks very much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to everybody in the chat. I'm seeing loads of thank yous, so that's great. Yeah, join our WhatsApp group. Join our WhatsApp group to get early notification. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, the event will be uploaded to thinktenacity.com in 2 weeks' time. So thank you, everybody. Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll join the WhatsApp group. Great. And don't forget your self-care favorite cards. Yes, thank you, guys. Thank you. Everybody, I'm looking at the chat as it's going through. There's quite a lot going through the chat. Yeah, everybody will be notified on the next event. When we do group support, there's smaller groups, which are up to 15 people. They are smaller groups and it's facilitated by a qualified Black therapist. Yes, thank you for your question. I'm also reading YouTube as well. Resources, yes, we did send the telephone numbers. I'll ask the moderators to put the telephone numbers again. Those will be sent out. Yeah. In our WhatsApp group, we also add new telephone numbers that we receive. We repeat the resources. I'm reading the chat as we're going through because we're live on YouTube. Yeah. Are we on TikTok? Absolutely. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Or Think Tenacity. We're on the podcast is Think Tenacity. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify, Amazon. I'm reading the chats as they're going through. Yeah. The event was streamed on YouTube. Okay. I'm reading the chats. Yeah, many people ask questions. How do I ask a question? So for the next event, when it's a large event like this, you can ask your questions through the Eventbrite chat, and the questions will be answered there. It is difficult to answer all the questions at the event. So what we tend to do is answer the remaining questions on social media, and we use the hashtag Time to Talk support. Yeah.
And is it fair to sort of put out there that anybody who has a skill to offer the panel can contact you if they would like to be on the panel, Bella? Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know where that question's come from. Yeah. So we are actually in a recruitment stage and we are looking for volunteers. I'm not sure who answered that question. What I would say is if you keep posted on our Linktree, there are some roles on our thinktenacity.com. We are looking for more panelists. We are looking for more moderators because our events are getting really, really busy. We had 58 people at the maximum in the event. So yeah, definitely we are looking for other people to be part of the event. Let me just view gallery. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. So let me, panelist, if you remain for a little bit, let me just see. Sort of 1, 2,